Thanks everyone for joining today's event. And in the previous session, we have studied about marine archaea, marine bacteria, and marine eukarya. Also, we have covered the introduction of protista in the previous sessions. Today, we are going to learn about marine plants. And as everyone knows, ocean is providing more than 50% of the oxygen we breathe. Through marine plants only we are getting those much of oxygen, and today we are going to learn about that. And Husna, like, you can take the lead now.
Yes, thank you, Sanjeevan. Good evening, everyone. Today we are going to study about marine plants. So, welcome to the session. So, the learning outcomes, students would be able to list the characteristics of kingdom Plantae and plant cells. So, and at the end of this session, like, you'll be able to describe the body parts of seagrass and able to differentiate seaweed from seagrass, and you will be able to give some examples of seagrass and to describe their importance of seagrass as blue carbon ecosystem. So let's move to the characteristics of Plantae. So we know that plants are multicellular and they're eukaryotic, and they contain cell wall, mostly consist with cellulose and hemicellulose. And also in the cell, they contain a large vacuole, and they are autotrophs. They carry photosynthetic pigments in the chloroplast, and they do photosynthesis. And they are not moving, they are attached to one place. And most of the plants, they live in land, feed in water. So it range from freshwater to marine. So there are like 250,000 species, FIVA marine. So these FIV marine plants are very important um, uh, in order like to they are producing a good amount of oxygen that's essential for us to breathe. So we'll be discussing in detail about those in the coming slides. So here you can see the plant cell and a typical eukaryotic cell. Last time we studied about these. So like when we compare, you can see here you have you can see that the plant cells, they have a cell wall, okay, and they contain a large central vacuole, and then additionally they have this chloroplast to photosynthesis. So that's the main difference between the eukaryotic, the general one, and the plant cells. So you should know the differences, okay? And then when it comes to marine plants, we have main three categories. So one is seagrass, and then salt marsh plants, and then we have mangrove plants. So today we are going to discuss about seagrass. So here you can see this is seagrass meadow, and here you have salt marsh. These are mangrove plants. Okay, now today, yes, about when we focus about the seagrass, they are flowering plants. They have flowers, and they live. They grow in shallow environment. Some some places which is sheltered, kind of very undisturbed places, and mostly they are tropical and subtropical. And yes, they can reproduce sexually. Vegetative growth through rhizomes, and also they reproduce sexually. which means they have the flower and then they germinate the pollens and the pollination happens. So both way they can reproduce, and they evolved from terrestrial plants and they are adapted to live in marine environment. This is kind of widely accepted. So you can remember that last week we studied about marine algae or seaweed. So it's believed that from that seaweed, the terrestrial plants evolved, and then from the terrestrial plants, few plants they adapted to live in marine environment. That's how the seagrass were evolved. So that's the story. And then we can say that the blades, or else we can say the leaves, are supported by buoyancy and they're flexible. So with the currents, they can move here and there, so without breaking. And yes, they are hydrophytes. So hydrophytes means they are adapted to live in water. Any plant that's adapted to live in water, we call them hydrophytes. Okay, so there are 66 species of seagrasses. So this is a body of seagrass anatomy. So here we can see clearly, yes, let's move from here. So here you have this part. This is called rhizome. Here they have marked it. So this is called rhizome. In the rhizome, you have nodes. Okay, from that place, the roots come out. So you have nodes. Between two nodes, there is a place called internode. Okay, and then from the rhizome, the stem arises. So stem goes up, and then the leaf blades, we can say blades or leaves, so they emerge. So here you have the leaf tip, and then below, like the point where all the leaves like come out, we call that part sheath. Okay, these are the general like structure that you need to know about seagrass. So you know that they have the root, rhizome, stem, leaf, everything. So they are plants. Okay, and then here is another diagram showing clearly. So here you can see, so this is the stem. Okay, from the rhizome the stem is arising. So here you can see the small part where the leaves are coming out, we call that sheath covered, and these are leaves and flowers. Okay, so yes, so like this is about the last week's session. Okay, so here I have showed a picture of like I want to ask the students, like, can anyone say what's this and this? So I give 1 minute to answer for this question. So will be like you all can speak, or like you can put it in the chat. So what's this first and second picture? So just to recap, like this is from the previous session. It's about the algae or seaweed we studied. So can anyone tell me what's this and this? So yes. So anyone? What's this? What's this algae or seaweed and this?
Husna, you are muted.
Sorry, yes, I see our students are answering. This is a brown algae and this is a green algae. So thank you very much. So here see, like this is visible, a root kind of thing is there down, but actually it's not root, okay? So this is the whole first. A similar structure, but it's not a true root. They help the brown algae to get attached to the substratum. So, and then here you see a green algae kind of, you can be confused sometimes with the seagrass, but here this body is not like not showing a very a differentiated like leaves, just a patch of green. Okay, so that's the main thing that you want to focus here. So here we have a comparison chart. So like seagrass, see the pictures below. So seagrass, they have specialized tissues, okay, and they are vascular plants. So these are simple, unspecialized structures, a bulk, a piece of green you can see. Okay, they are seaweed. And then when it comes to roots, seagrass, they have true roots, and also through that they transport minerals. Okay, so when it comes to seaweed, they have holdfast, as I showed you in the earlier picture. Okay, that helps them to get attached. So chloroplasts are confined to leaves, so this is very important. So seagrass, you see, they have stem and leaves. So this chloroplast, which contains the chlorophyll, the pigment, it's only confined to their leaf part. Only we can see in the leaf, but here all over the body. Okay, and then minerals and nutrients are transported through special tissues. Here, the minerals and nutrients are transferred directly through their body. Okay, and they produce flowers and fruits, seagrass. So seaweed, they produce spores. Okay, so those are the differences. So here another picture that I have put. So clearly you can understand. So they produce flowers, seaweed only produce spores, and both seagrass and seaweeds are threatened. And seagrass has a root, whereas seaweeds does not. A seaweed only get the hold first, and then seagrass is a flowering plant and they are macroalgae. So these are some facts about seagrass and seaweed. Yes, now we are moving to the seagrass, and we have 14 genera of 6 families, and here I have listed some examples. We are going to study about them. So yes, let's move to the first example. So it's called eel grass or Zoster. So this kind of seagrass is found on sandy substrates, or you can say estuaries, and they are submerged or partially floating. So when you see, you can see a small part of the leaves coming out of the water column, but most of the body parts are submerged. Okay, and they are perennial. They can live more than 2 years. um, and they have long bright green ribbon like leaf. Okay, it's very long, something ribbon like. Short stems grow up from extensive white branching rhizomes. So they have a kind of branching white rhizome. From that, the stem comes out. Okay, so Seri tribe of Native Americans, they use this eelgrass as one of their food source. Okay, and also this eelgrass, has been used for packing material, as a packing material and stuffing material for mattresses and cushions. So this is all about eelgrass. And then we have surf grass. Uh, so this is a slender, vivid green, okay, long blades, very thin blades, okay. So it grows in large clumps, or they are mostly attached to the rocks. Okay, so rocky shows a related area. We can see this kind of surf grasses. So when the tide is high, when the sea level is high, they are submerged. When during the low tide, they are exposed. Okay, and the flowers are in spikes at the base of the leaves. Okay, the base of the leaf, they have the flower, and they don't have the petals. So yes, and then like they can establish, so this is a kind of yes, like they also send out rhizomes. Through rhizomes they can colonize, and yes, and also a biodiverse invertebrate community lives in surf grass beds. So they are very thick, and they can provide a very good sheltered environment for animals, like the organisms like snails, limphoids, and crustaceans. Okay, and also algae may grow on stem and leaves. So some algae, they can uh, get attached to as epibionts. Last week we studied any, like they provide a surface to live. So seagrass was used by Native American tribes along the Southern California coast to make cordage and other woven objects. So the dried seagrass are used to make ropes and woven objects by these native tribes in America. And also, yes, our next example is Pacidonia. So they are commonly known as Neptune grass or Mediterranean tapeweed. So is a grass species that endemic to Mediterranean. So only you can specially see in that place. So Mediterranean Sea, and they have kind of their fruits are floating. It's known as olive of the sea. So they have a fruit that can be compared to olive, and the leaves are ribbon-like. Okay, appearing in tuft of 6 or 7 combinations, and it's very lengthy, up to 1.5 meters it can grow. And then the leaves are bright green, so you can see in the picture how bright the color is. And when they get older with aging, they turn brown. Okay, and also in their leaves they have parallel veins that can be up to from 13 to 17 parallel veins. Okay, the the leaf terminus is rounded, the tip part is rounded. Leaves are arranged in groups with all the leaves on the outside. Okay, and here, yes, again you can see this is a rhizome. So here you can see how from one place all the leaves are coming out. So this is horizontal, we can say horizontal rhizome, and the starting part we can say vertical rhizome that's coming vertically, and then we have the stem, sheath, and the leaves. So yes, so our next example is Syringodium, that's manatee grasses. So and these kind of grasses are found in shallow sandy or muddy locations in Caribbean Sea, Gulf of Mexico, Bahamas, and Bermuda. And our next example is shawl grasses, helidoil. So it's a plant species native to sea coast of some of the warmer oceans in the world. So they are growing in salt water marshes and intertidal regions. So they also often submerge. So when the low tide, they are exposed, and they have a flat leaves up to 20 centimeter long, and dark reddish brown with a few teeth on the margins, little serrated on the margin. And here you can see they have fruit. They have fruit which is spherical to egg shaped, about 2 millimeter across, very small. So they are kind of separated. We can see the patches are not like crowded, but you can see a distance from each node, like it's visible. Okay, they are arranged, and these aquatic plants form seabeds and increase habitat stabilization through constant shoot and rhizome production. Okay, through this rhizome they give new plants. So that way they make a network kind of thing in the sea floor. So they stabilized the resuspension. I mean, if there's no seagrass, uh, constantly with the wave actions and currents, the sea bottom, the sea flow is disturbed. The sediments come to the water column. But when the plants are there, having a network of rhizomes, they they help to stabilize the bottom, the sea flow, without resuspending to the water column. So they also supply food resources to several species of fish, invertebrate, marine life, and manatees. So we'll be studying about the manatees and dugong in our coming lecture series. So they are one kind of, like, they provide a food source for manatees. So, and also this species of plant has the ability to adapt to various levels of salinity and temperature. So this is very important about this helidoil. Okay, next is petal grasses, or we can say Halophila. Okay, and they are commonly known as Caribbean grasses, and they grow underwater on sandy or muddy seafloors in shallow parts of tropical waters. So you can see like how Halophila is kind of different than the previous examples we studied. They have a kind of round shape, and they're not so lengthy. So they're more close. They live more closer to the sea bottom. Okay, so that's their importance, or because significant with this halophila. So these they like the almost, they are stemless. Yes, we can like once we see them, yes, they appear to be stemless. Okay, from the rhizome to the leaves appear in pair, so that we only see the leaves, not the stem part. So, and with a pair of scales at their base. Okay, the leaves are petal shaped and they have finely serrated margins. So they have small zigzag kind of thing or serrated margin. So yes, the leaves appear in pair, so two. Okay, so that's all about Halophila. and yes, they are flowering plants. So and also they are annual, so they only live for 1 year, so they complete their life cycle within an year, and they are found in Indian Pacific oceans. And seagrass beds act as source of food, so they act as source of food, a breeding ground and habitat for various flora and fauna. So here we have another example, Thalassia hemprichi. So this is also called a sickle grass. So with the you can see the appearance is kind of very kind of curvy. So sickle cell, we know that. So that name came from the appearance, sickle shape, and they are flat blade. Their leaves are very flat, and the very significance about this sickle grass are they can tolerate a low light condition caused by the algal bloom. So, and they can survive even in low temperature, and like they capture and they positively respond to the ocean acidification and other disturbances. So that's the importance of Thalassia hemprichi. And then we have Enhalus. So Enhalus is a large seagrass native to coastal waters of tropical Indian and Western Pacific oceans. And Anhalaceae surface are pollinated with male flowers. This is kind of interesting. So anhalers, they have two male and female plants. So what happens is like male flower, they get detached from their plant and they go in search. They float in the column and they find their female flower and they do pollination. Okay, and they have a massive rhizome that helps to stay in the uh, ocean floor or mud substrate, we can say, and it has a long strap like leaves, very long ones, and they provide great due to their length and width. They have a high surface area, so epibionts, organism, they get attached to the leaf and they provide habitat for small organisms. So living in shallow soft substrate like muddy or sand flats and coral substrates depending the region of growth. So they can be seen in muddy sand flats and environment that's related to coral as well. So it can be found in mixed meadows of seagrass. This is kind of a significant about this particular species. So like the previous examples, Thalassia hemprichi. So this inhalers is always found in a mixed population with the Thalassia hemprichi. So they are found in always they found in found as a mixed population. They grow together. Okay, so those are the examples we studied. So I hope that everyone understood about this. So next we have an interesting video to watch about seagrass and their importance. So hope this is gonna be something interesting. So come, let's watch together. Yes.
Husna, we can't hear them. Maybe you can check the sharing option.
Oh, Give me a minute. Give me some time.
Sure, no worries.
Oh, wait. Give me a fifth. It's like, it's, yeah, like,
70
what about now?
Yeah, now we
Can
can
you?
see it. Yeah.
Okay.
species form dense meadows on the seabed, potentially covering up to 600,000 square kilometres worldwide. Incredibly, seagrass captures carbon up to 35 times faster than tropical rainforests, making it a vital ally in our efforts to combat climate change. These beautiful underwater meadows also slow down marine currents. This traps sediments and even marine plastics, which reduces coastal erosion and improves water quality. Thousands of species depend on seagrass for food and shelter. The cleverly adapted pipefish uses its excellent camouflage to blend in with the gently swaying leaves, and the small spotted cat shark uses the safety of the meadows as a nursery ground. Seagrass beds also support endangered species such as the dugong and green turtle. Through their foraging activities, these gentle giants expertly engineer and structure the whole ecosystem, allowing an even wider range of species to live there. The direct ecological benefits of seagrass meadows are huge. They provide shelter, food and nurseries for many species, which supports important fishing and tourism industries. Per year, it's estimated that a square kilometre of seagrass is worth up to $1.9 million. But these vital submarine oases are under threat all over the world, with the equivalent of around 2 American football fields lost every hour. This makes seagrass one of the most rapidly declining ecosystems on Earth. This worrying loss is often a result of coastal development, including dredging. In some areas, seagrass is removed to make beaches more attractive for tourists. In the Maldives, it's estimated 50% of tourist resorts have removed seagrass meadows for this reason. Worldwide, seagrasses are experiencing all 5 of the most serious threats to ocean life: overexploitation, physical modification, nutrient and sediment pollution, introduction of non-native species, and climate change. Seagrass declines have been attributed to all of these threats, and often in combination. But hope is not lost. Urgent efforts are being made to bring seagrass meadows back. Project Seagrass, in connection with Swansea University and WWF, have launched the UK's largest ever seagrass restoration project. By collecting, cultivating and planting 1 million seagrass seeds, this pioneering project demonstrates that it is possible to restore this crucial habitat to fight back against climate change. Now, many other organisations are also working to re-establish and restore seagrass habitats around the world. As part of a 20-year project, the Virginia Institute of Marine Science has already successfully restored over 36 square kilometres of seagrass meadows. Join us in helping protect vital seagrass habitats around the world. You can help make a difference by donating to or volunteering for seagrass protection and restoration projects. You can take part in citizen science initiatives by recording seagrass in your area using apps like Seagrass Spotter from Project Seagrass. The more we learn about seagrass, the more we realise just how vital these species-rich, carbon-capturing meadows around our coastlines are to the health of the ocean and the planet. It's in all of our interest that they recover and thrive.
Yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed the video about seagrass and how it's important to conserve them, what are the threats they're facing. So now we are moving to see their importance, ecological importance. So yes, now like yes, they role of seagrasses as primary producers. Now you know that they are the primary producers. They are one of the primary producers in the marine ecosystem. They give and also they while they produce oxygen, they also do they harbor many organisms in their seagrass meadow. And then you understood the importance about the primary producers because they contribute a large amount of oxygen. So that's very important when considering the climate change impact. So yes, so next is about, yes, about blue carbon. So yeah, like when it comes to blue carbon, we know that with various activities, anthropogenic and sometimes, yes, yeah, mostly the anthropogenic carbon dioxide emission is happening. So they are like there's coastal ecosystems, or we can say marine plants, mangrove, seagrass. They can capture, because they are autotrophs, they capture carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide emission, greenhouse gas emission, is one of the like one of the biggest problem that we are facing today. So we say that due to the anthropogenic input, the climate change is accelerating, and so that way these ecosystems they help to reduce the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere by capturing the carbon dioxide. So when we remove or when we disturb this kind of environment, so still we are like negatively helping to increase the carbon dioxide, and then the climate related issues increases. So it's very important for us to conserve these ecosystems. So blue carbon is the carbon captured or sequestrated through these marine environments. So marine plants are called blue carbon. Blue is something that's related to ocean. That's how that word came, blue carbon. So and here you can see that 1 hectare of seagrass can store twofold of the carbon captured by an average terrestrial forest. So do you see the importance of the seagrass? So they can capture more than the terrestrial. So when it comes to climate, people promote like that's good. Still, like they are say terrestrial plants, we have to plant trees so they capture carbon dioxide. That way we can help to mitigate the climate changes like happening. But that's kind of a myth, I say, because actually these blue carbon ecosystems are doing a great job that's neglected, less studied, and given less importance. Okay, so they do more work than the terrestrial plants. So we have the responsibility to safeguard this ecosystem, blue carbon ecosystem, in order to fight for the climate change. So that's the message from this picture. So hope that you understood about the importance of the seagrass. Okay, next. Yes, here another picture that describes, here you can see that's the land. From the landward, usually you have a mangrove patch, and then you will have the seagrass bed, okay, in a very shallow water, and then the coral reefs. So they live, or they exist interdependently. We can't, like, if we disturb one ecosystem, the other will be affected definitely. So here you can see mangrove that's related to seagrass, and then come to coral reef. So, like, if we only talk about the coral reef and restoring them, but it's very essential to focus on seagrasses as well. So if we don't care about the seagrasses and only just we to talk about the coral reefs, there's no difference we can make, okay, regarding the coral reef restoration or anything. Because here from this land, any effluents, it can be sediment, water, nutrients, anything that flows from the land, first it's captured by the mangrove. Okay, mangroves are the big forests, so they capture all the sediments that's coming to the ocean. So they are the first like fighters there. So then comes the seagrass. So whatever the rest that's coming to the ocean, so they seagrass act as trappers. They get all the nutrients, and then the sediments, they stabilize, everything is perfectly done. Then they provide the environment that's very clean, without turbidity, and very clear water for the coral reef growth. So that's very important. So here you can see here, like, yes, loss of mangrove, I go here, like loss of mangrove and seagrass habitat is directly impacting on coral reef habitats. Okay, increased sedimentation and nutrient input with low light visibility, coral die. There's no any other question regarding that, they will die. So yes, and then when coral died, the decrease storm buffering. So when like we consider any disaster, like tsunami, maybe any storm surge, so when it comes from the seaside, corals are the first fighters we have. So they do buffering activity. They withstand the storm surge. So they help us to prevent, they prevent the coastal community from getting damaged. Okay, the severity, they reduce the severity of the storm surge or tsunamis. But when there's no coral reef there, when we don't care about that, coral, like the coastal communities are severely impacted, even if it's a small storm surge. Okay, and then it like decrease a storm. So first, like protector is like they are gone. That means decreased storm buffering, increased coastal erosion. So there the mangroves are severely impacted, and then the coastal erosion happens. So everything is interconnected. We can't only focus one thing, but it's very important to know that we have to take care of all these ecosystems. If one is damaged, definitely the other parts are going to get severely impacted. So yes, that's the connectivity and of the ecosystem, of these ecosystems, and why we need to care, and why need to be more concerned of these. So yes, let's move to the next. Yes, a role of seagrasses as habitat. Here you can see, yes, in the video, yes, you saw nice and like organisms living, like interacting with the seagrass. Yes, there are lots of organisms. Here I have showed you a picture to get the idea how important even minute small organisms they are depending on the seagrass. Like once we deplete we disturb the seagrass packs, how that the destruction gonna impact on these small organisms. They don't have a place to live, so that way we are causing like that will cause a biodiversity loss. So you can imagine, like you can have the idea how important one seagrass patch is. So that's what I want to highlight through this slide. Okay, and then yes, here another picture. So not only they give out the carbon dioxide, oxygen to the water column, okay, and they also help to breathe a life into like below the sediments. Okay, they give oxygen, and then they remove any nutrients that's coming to the water. So that way they prevent algal bloom. So with the nutrient increase, like if there's an increase of nitrogen and phosphorus nutrient increasement, there can be algal blooms. Okay, so that algae, when they bloom in the water column, they block the light penetration inside the water. So this seagrass, they help in removing these nutrients from water, and also they prevent algal growth. And also you saw in that like you watched that video, so you saw how they provide a nice habitat shelter for this kind of organisms. So and also they prevent resuspension. So yes, we'll see in the next slide. Oh no, yes, I have to explain here. So if you imagine there's no seagrass patch, so with wave and water currents, all these beds are disturbed and the sediment come up to the water column. So it negatively impact the clarity of the water. So they do a great job by reducing the resuspension of the sediment. Yes, so now we are moving to the human usage of this seagrass. So the most common use of these blades, or we can say seagrass leaves, they're used as filler for insulation, stuffing, and packings. Okay, so like they are used in like making pillows and cushions. Okay, and also they are used as like insulators, insulation of walls. So and also in many cultures stuff dried blades into pillow and furniture. Yes, so one is to construct insulation walls to prevent the effect of winter sometimes. Yes, then we have these blades are used as wet moist packaging, so to transport any kind of shellfish. So they are light in weight and they provide moisture. So these kind of blades are used in packing, and also they are used for medicine and industrial application and then food. Okay, so some native cultures they eat seagrass seeds, yes, and they grind rhizomes into flour for their starch content. So grinding the rhizome They produce. Yes, sorry. Yes, they produce starch content, and then they have they some people they burn this seagrass. I mean, dried dead seagrass. So they use as fuel, and sometimes they extract mineral from seagrass by burning and getting the ash. And also they carry medicinal uses, so some are used as herbs for rheumatism, so that they are used as herbs. So these are the human usage and their ecological importance we studied. So it's yes, all about the seagrass. So hope everyone enjoyed the session. So thank you very much for being with us today.